Aloha, I'm Lyla Berg. Mahalo for tuning in to Island Focus. We're broadcasting this program remotely from my home again as Hawaii opens up, so you can continue to meet the people who influence our daily lives. Thank you for joining us on Island Focus. Mahalo for tuning in to Island Focus and joining me in meeting Avi Mannis, who is the Senior Vice President of Marketing with Hawaiian Airlines.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Would you share with us a little bit about what is going on with the airlines and the employees and some hope for the future as Hawaii is reopening?
Sure. So really, like any local business, I think our focus has been on how we can reopen safely, what we need to do in terms of our operations using the best science we have available to us to make sure that we can resume operations whenever we can resume operations with measures in place that keep our guests and our employees and our community safe. We've also been trying to make sure, and this is again no different than any other business, but on a bigger scale, that we have the cash to ensure that we can weather this long period of time in which we're losing millions of dollars a day and not taking in much revenue. So that's been kind of our two core areas of focus, and then also trying to ensure that we're doing whatever we can in the community to make sure that we're helping those who we know are suffering greatly as part of this. So that's been really our principal focus. We were fortunate in that we came into this period with a great deal of economic strength. We have a very strong balance sheet. We were able to get recourse to some federal aid, which has allowed us to keep all of our employees employed. In terms of that federal aid run out through the end of September. So while there's a great deal of uncertainty in our future around how and when the state will reopen to air travel, we've been able to use this time to invest in putting measures in place to make sure that we're ready to do so safely when the time comes.
In addition to all the safety measures, because we've gotten letters from the president explaining the different adjustments that have been made, what do you foresee in terms of the whole industry? You know, other airlines coming in, the hotels. You know, we talk about reopening as if we're just going to snap our fingers and go back to how it was.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I don't think we go back to how it was, maybe ever. I think the industry as a whole has to look comprehensively at what we do. I think there's been an amazing amount of work across all of our partners in the visitor industry and other airlines to ensure that we have really fantastic standards in terms of cleanliness and sanitization. And so the experience is going to be very, very different for guests when they arrive. But I think the most important thing is really thinking collectively through how we can reopen the air travel system and still keep our community safe. And so we've also been working very closely with stakeholders in state government and the counties to understand what we can do, the layers that we can put in place to make sure that when we start to bring travelers in from places with higher rates of disease than we have today, which we absolutely have to do if we want to restart any semblance of an economy, that we're doing so with the right layered things in place. No one measure is ever going to be foolproof. So we need lots of layers embedded in the whole travel system to make sure that we can keep people safe. And that means that it's not an airline responsibility or a county responsibility or a state or hotel responsibility. It's really all of us working together as a community to make sure that both our visitors, but also our locals who go to other places and come back are doing so in a way that's safe.
You evidently have been thinking of all the different facets, in addition to keeping your employees, Hawaiian Airline employees, in place. What measures are you taking to keep their morale high? Because I know as change happens, right, we all get a little nervous.
It's a great question, and it's been such a dynamic time for us as a business. We've never been through anything quite like this, and our industry is one that's been through ups and downs. Every 5 or 10 years, we have a crisis. A lot of it has been around communication, and as everyone has dispersed to various places, we're not operating at the same level we were before. We're operating a small fraction of our flights, so many of our frontline employees are home. Many of our office employees have been working from home as well. We've had to find new ways to communicate and to talk to people about what's going on and have dialogues. We have big company-wide webcasts fairly often, and the answers aren't always what people want to hear. We've had to have some really tough conversations, and I think that's going to continue, because I don't think even if we were to start to reopen on August 1st, it's going to be like flipping a switch for our business. So we're having difficult conversations, but we're trying to have them as transparently as possible, and to also just to figure out what we can do in the community at a time when we're not using all of the resources of the business to run an airline. What are the things that we can do? So we've partnered with the DOE to help get schools ready for the school year. So last week I was up on the North Shore sanding and painting a bathroom at Haleiwa Elementary. These are things that we can do that keep everyone focused on doing something during this time of really great uncertainty.
Well, it may sound a little bit cavalier, but it's kind of exciting what you're talking about, getting your employees not just involved in the community, but remembering we are the community.
And we've always been very deeply embedded in the community. I think the most important thing right now is that we figure out how we can reopen safely, because without that, I think this community faces very grave consequences, both economic and human, from delaying the reopening. So we're very hopeful that we're going to find ways to do this. Other destinations have figured out how to do this and to balance some of the health outcomes with the economic risks. We're very enthusiastic that we can find a way forward to do that.
Well, it sounds very hopeful. And as we wrap up our conversation today, any parting thoughts that we can look forward to?
I think, as we get through the immediate crisis, there's nothing that we can do to get our economy going again other than reopening the visitor industry. But I think there is a really valuable conversation that we need to have with all of the stakeholders at the table, including businesses like us and the community more broadly, about how we want tourism to benefit our community and what we're going to do to sustainably diversify our economy. And certainly, as a business that is a local business that's deeply embedded in the community, we think there is a really productive dialogue to be had about that. So I'm hopeful that as we get through the immediate crisis, we can start to have those conversations.
Well, we're very happy that you'll be at the table. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've just had an opportunity to meet Avi Mannis, who is the Senior Vice President of Marketing with Hawaiian Airlines. Mahalo for joining us. I'm here today on Island Focus with Eric Gill, who is representing Local 5. Thanks so much for being with us, Eric.
I always like to talk, so thanks for inviting me.
And it's a really necessary time to hear your voice. With the reopening of Hawaii and you with Local 5, maybe you could share with us some of the adjustments, your concerns at the moment, and your hope as we open up Hawaii and the visitor industry, and let us know how we can help.
What we're seeing here in our tourist industry is just a magnification of trends that have been happening for many years. We have a situation in our tourist industry where the owners and operators are not local people at all, and they are not the same people anymore. And so we have a situation where the ownership of the hotels is basically dealing with our hotels as real estate investments, and the operators, of course, want to operate them as hotels, and the two fight all the time. And right now, the owners are not willing to put more money into a real estate investment that has been challenged, and the operators aren't putting any money in to take care of the folk that have been furloughed. And so since our, we've had 80% of our members laid off in the last 4 months, the big hotels haven't done anything, haven't put any money in towards people's continued health and welfare, for example. And they've been unresponsive to our requests that they show us how they intend to keep people safe and to bargain with us on those questions, which are not trivial questions at all. My members are are worried about their health going back to work, and many of them are, people with some age to them, and feel very much at risk. And many people have kids at home and not sure about. So there's a real question if people want to go back to work right now, and right now, since the unemployment is fairly generous with the extra subsidy from the feds, at least through this month, then people are reluctant to go back because they're not clear of their safety. So we have a situation, I think, where we're kind of in an existential situation with our community. The hotels are in this to make money, and they made fabulous money in Hawaii. I mean, they made billions and billions of dollars in Hawaii, but they're not making money now. And so some of the hotel owners are telling me, well, Eric, we may not be able to reopen. If you ask for too much, it'll make it too costly. We'll have to close down. And so basically here we are in a situation where Hawaii's people, it's pretty clear to me that many, many, many people, and I'm one of them, think that 10 million tourists a year is too much. And on the other hand, we got 250,000 people out of work, and those families with no prospects. And so how do we deal with this? How do we deal with having a tourism that actually works for us, and that we have good jobs that come of it, so that we can support our families and pay taxes and support our schools and our community? How do we have the tourism industry that's good for Hawaii, as opposed to Hawaii being a good place for global investors to make money?
What would be a vision that you would like to see happen, besides the fact that the hotel owners and managers will be attentive to the well-being of your people, our people?
Well, you give me these broad brush questions. We have to regulate tourism better. We've basically given the tourist industry whatever they want. We've followed all the new development of different hotels that have come up, and in each of those discussions, the question is, what does the community get out of this? Mm-hmm. And it's been difficult. We've been asking for hotels to make commitments for affordable housing, since so many of our people are on the street, and more of them getting on the street every day. And it's going to be much worse in the next few months. And so the fact is that, there's billions of dollars being made, but it's not staying here unless it goes into people's pockets in the form of wages and benefits. So as these hotels reopen and they're eliminating jobs, they want to regain their profitability. What does that do for us if our jobs don't come back? So we need to defend and make sure we have very good jobs in tourism, and we need to defend those jobs. That's our tax base. But we also have to be I think, a lot more strict with global investors about the conditions under which they should be allowed to take our beaches, which is really our only major natural resource that we have to build an economy around. It sounds like we have oil or minerals and all that. And so we need to be far more strict about the conditions under which investors invest here, instead of just, letting them do what they want all the time.
I love that thought. And let's end our brief conversation today on that, and look forward to hearing a little more at a later time as we move into that vision of diversification and honoring our uniqueness. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for taking the time with us.
I'm always willing to come and talk, and there's many other things we can get into, but thanks for inviting me.
You've just had the opportunity to get to know a little bit better Eric Gill with Local 5. We're here on Island Focus. Mahalo for joining us. Today on Island Focus, you will enjoy meeting Phyllis Shimabukuru Geyser, who is the chairperson of the Board of Agriculture. Mahalo for joining us, Phyllis.
Oh, mahalo. Thank you. Glad to be here.
So the Department of Agriculture is a state agency that oversees our agricultural industry. and what the farmers grow and where they grow. How is the board different from that?
The board is made up of 10 members. 3 of them are from government agencies and the universities. So we have the Dean of College of Tropical Agriculture, we have the head of Land and Natural Resources, and the head of DBED, along with members representing the state from various industries, ag industries, or organizations that are appointed by the governor.
So when the visitor industry shut down and the restaurants closed and we were all sheltering in place and not going out, what were some of the implications and also your lessons learned for the farmers?
You know, we realized that how connected our industry is with tourism and hospitality. With the restaurants closing and the hotels closing, we were experiencing loss for our farmers between 40 to 60%. Some people lost everything. It also affected the hog industry because, you know, a lot of our neighbor island producers, small scale operations, they relied on the food waste from the restaurants to, you know, supplement their feed. And that went away when the restaurants were shut down. So there was a lot of need out there.
What did you notice about this whole idea of buying local? Because that is the mantra.
Well, you know, farmers are small businesses. They're true entrepreneurs. They're very resilient. Ag is resilient. And we really realized that we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the consumer. We need the consumers to buy local.
When you speak about local products or buying local, what are you really referring to?
What I'm talking about is how you use a locally produced commodity and process it and distribute it so you can increase the value of what it is at the farm gate level and what you could make possibly 2-3 times more by selling it as an ingredient like salts or spices, you know, shochu, like a sake. So that's happening here in Hawaii. And that's a perfect example of how you can take a tuber that's grown here and then use it to produce a high value product.
Got it. And like the rum on Kauai.
Oh, definitely. So you use, you know, sugar. The sugar that's produced here is a key ingredient for some of these infused beverages.
So when you're talking about, for instance, the shochu that's made from the sweet potato, there's a lot more involved than just the land to grow the sweet potato and the company that makes, the local company that makes the shochu. What else is involved?
The revenue that's generated from growing the sweet potato or the revenue generated from creating the beverage, it's also creating jobs because it involves distribution. It goes to the restaurant or it goes to the hotel. It's in a bar. I mean, they're serving it. So it's really about not only goods, but it's services. And it does contribute to employment and the economy.
Knowing what was learned and what is needed, what do you foresee is the reality of growing local, more products, and so that we can buy local?
Our department has always been focused on doubling local food production. Governor Ige has given us that responsibility, that charge. So we've been focused on trying to assist our farmers in, you know, getting more affordable land so that they can scale up and expand their production, getting connected and networking with the private industry, because it really does take government and private industry investment together. Government can't do it all alone.
It's kind of an exciting time, I think, to be able to actually build the industry and not just grow it, although we need more land now to be committed to farmers, but to build the industry, actually. As we close our conversation, what is one idea or one thought that you'd like to leave us with that gives us hope that we will be able to buy more local products?
Well, I believe ag is resilient, our farmers are resilient, and I think with technology, we can reset and do things better.
Great, better and more, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much for your leadership. Thank you for being with us today, and we will look forward to more local products. Thank you.
Thank you.
We just had the opportunity to meet Phyllis Shimabukuro Geyser, who is the chairperson of the Board of Agriculture. Mahalo for joining us. With us today on Island Focus, I have the pleasure of talking with Tina Yamaki, who is the president of the Retail Merchants of Hawaii. Aloha, Tina. Thank you for joining us.
Aloha, and thank you for having me.
The Retail Merchants, please explain a little bit more what your organization does and what is your outlook as Hawaii starts to reopen?
Sure. The Retail Merchants of Hawaii was founded back in 1901, and we're a statewide nonprofit trade organization, and we're committed to the growth and development of the retail industry here in Hawaii. Our membership includes everyone from small mom and pop stores, large box stores, resellers, luxury retail, department stores, shopping malls, local, national, and international retailers, chains, and everyone in between. So we represent just about everybody here in Hawaii that is a retailer. When the pandemic started, some businesses were deemed essential, so they were still open, that sold food and of course Lysol and Clorox and toilet paper and things like that. But a lot of the stores were not open at the time. When we did get the okay to open, we put together some guidelines just to make sure it was safe for everybody to shop. So you saw, the signages going up with please wear your mask. You hear it on the PA systems. You see the social distancing markers. We have touchless cash. When you go, you don't even have to sign anymore when you pay by credit card. There's a lot of things that stores have done to kind of entice the customer to come back, because we feel if we show that it is safe for the customer and the employee that's in there, people are going to feel more comfortable to come in and shop in our stores.
Your outlook as we open up, because there's been so much concern about our economy.
Retailers are heavily dependent on tourism, and so is the state of Hawaii. So for those stores that have actual tourists coming in and purchasing, the macadamia nuts and the Lays, they're not there right now. So a lot of those stores have not opened up, or people who have multiple locations may not open them up in the resort areas because there just aren't customers. We've heard where people opened up and 2 days later they closed because there was no business. With other retailers, it's an indirect thing with tourism because everyone has some kind of tie to tourism. It's like the story of the $20 bill, where the tourist comes to Hawaii and pays for her hotel. And then the hotel pays the front desk clerk the $20. And the front desk clerk takes it and buys a plate lunch. Plate lunch guy goes and buys his vegetable from the local farmer. And the local farmer pays, the truck driver to deliver his fruits and vegetables to the market. And then the truck driver takes that $20 bill and pays, for shoes for his child. Well, without that $20 bill, these people don't get paid. And without them getting paid, you've seen, increase in unemployment. People's salaries have been cut, less hours people are working. So it has an impact. They don't have the money to come and shop. So what they're doing is list shopping. They're going in and whatever's on the list is what I need to have, what's not nice to have. And they're also looking for bargains and deep discounts, especially now that school's coming back online and people have been in home for a while. So maybe their elastic in their shorts are broken and they need some new shorts and stuff. But everyone's kind of looking for that deep discount. But we also know that it's not going to last forever. Even though the stores were closed, the things that they have ordered have still been coming in. So a lot of them had over inventory, and that's why you saw some of these deep discounts, but it's not going to continue forever.
When we talk about discounts or products not being as expensive online, definitely people are ordering more so they don't have to go out, number one. And then sometimes the products are less expensive with free shipping, for instance.
Yeah. Those stores that have survived, are doing pretty decent, is they have what is called an omni-channel, where you can buy online and pick up at the store, or, have it delivered to your home directly. We found it doesn't matter. It could be groceries, it could be apparel, it could be just about anything. And when you go to the store, you just show them on your phone, that your receipt, that you're the person who bought it. Pop open your trunk, they put the things in, and off you go on your way. And we've seen an increase in that type of business going on right now.
There's a lot of creativity and a lot of innovation that not only is convenient for the consumer, but actually might be the best interest for the retail merchants as well.
Yeah, and a lot of them, they had to figure out, how do you use social media, how do you, to their best advantage, because now a lot of them, your visitors are on the mainland and they can't come over, or, they're scared to fly, or they don't want to do the 14-day quarantine. We've seen a lot of innovative things. People are using TikTok, people are using Facebook, Instagram, showcasing their stories. Showing the new products, they can't have a model shoot, so they're using their own staff or themselves to actually wear the clothes, and this is what real people look like in it, type of thing. Retail has had to change the way we've done business. Those businesses, this is how we've done business, this is how we've always done business. A lot of them have closed. We've also seen some that got a lot of small business loans, but those monies have kind of running out right now, or they haven't they only plan for it to come to the end of June. So there are a lot more layoffs that have come up as well, unfortunately.
And as we wrap up our short conversation today, what is your outlook, and how can we as a community support the retail merchants?
Hope for the best, but expect the worst, because we don't know what's going to happen or when the visitor industry opens back up again. But, we encourage everybody to buy local. Go to that local store, whether it's a national chain or your local mom and pop. People working in there are from our community. They're our friends and our family, and you're supporting them by buying in those stores. And also shop with Aloha. Please use your mask. It's, safety for not just you, but for our employees and the rest of our kapuna and children and everybody else in there as well.
And it is possible to see a smile through the mask.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much for your time. We wish you well and appreciate you coming on to Island Focus.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We just had an opportunity to meet Tina Yamaki, who is president of the Retail Merchants of Hawaii. Mahalo. Mahalo for being with us today on Island Focus. I'm Lyla Berg. On behalf of our crew and the staff at Ōlelo Community Media, aloha and malama pono. Let's take care of each other. See you soon.